Warning, the brown cloud is approaching. Some will try to outrun it. Others may not be so lucky. But don't worry, it's all part of the fun at the Chili Cook-Off for books and board games. Where the chili is hot, the flavors are bold. And Bear E has your back with the official Brown Cloud Preparedness Kit. Follow the plan. Know your exits, and whatever you do, hold your breath, because this temporary pain is all for a great cause. Join us, laugh with us, survive the brown cloud, together at Key Largo Lounge in Greeley.
Join us November 8th at 11 a.m. for the 10th annual Chili Cook-Off for books and board games at our home field, Key Largo Lounge, where our small market team is making a huge statement. Scan the code for tickets and sponsorship information.
When you join the Community Pay It Forward family, your business can be seen because people know your business will offer hope to organizations like Todd Lingle of CARES Foundation. CARES Foundation is a proud mission partner of Community Pay It Forward. CARES Foundation is dedicated to educating young drivers of the dangers of impaired and distracted driving. Every sale through Community Pay It Forward helps support incredible organizations like the CARES Foundation.
What if your story could power a movement? Every struggle you have conquered becomes the answer someone else is still searching for. At Community Pay It Forward, your mission matters. When someone shops with one of our giving partners, they can choose to support you simply by uploading a receipt. Your story gets shared, you get visibility, and you can share our program to raise up to 90% in referral awards. You have a story worth sharing. We're here to help you tell it. Apply today by using the QR code or at communitypayitforward.us. Because your story deserves to be shared. And at Community Pay It Forward, no one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Hey, good Monday morning, everyone. How you doing? Zach Clayton here with Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass, Pact Podcasting Networks. Welcome to Footprints Forward. We started the show initially after we worked really hard to put on the 22-hour podcast, and my thought was I didn't want to make it look like we could spend one day on the subject of one taking their own life and wait for another 364 days to do it again. And I've enjoyed so many of the conversations that we've had while doing this show. And unfortunately, one of the things that have come along there have been some personal losses. And it makes me wish we could do more. And I hope, and I will thrive, and strive is more like it. I will strive to continue to work harder and get more people on who can talk about their situations and who can make sure that we're leaving an impression on someone. There has never been a belief in my head that we can solve every case. There's never been a thought that it's impossible to do, but we have to start with the first one. And that is ultimately the goal, is to start with the first one, touch that first life. And if they can find something valuable in what we say, maybe they can pass us on to somebody else who's struggling, who can pass us on to somebody else who's struggling, who can pass us on, so on and so forth. I do bring this up because you all know anybody who spends more than 23 seconds with me knows how much of a hockey fan I am. And anybody who spends more than 10 seconds with me knows how much of a Devils fan I am. And on top of that, I live here in Colorado. And on Thursday of last week, we got tragic news that we had lost somebody who I deeply enjoyed watching in my younger years of hockey viewership. I remember watching him in 1985, the few times we could actually see hockey in Kansas, which was very, very rare. But getting to see like highlights or is pretty much the best we got. But hearing about this Claude Lemieux guy. And then, of course, 1995 rolls around. And I had just finished watching the year before as the Demons from Broadway ended up winning, coming back on the Devils and winning a series, and sitting there and just being so angry that happened. Well, then as things happen, you know, a season gets shortened and all of a sudden the Devils make the playoffs. And they go on an amazing run. And they get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Awesome. Best playoffs the Devils had ever had. As a franchise. And that's even in Colorado and Kansas City. And you know, the play of the entire team was just something amazing. It was something fantastic. And, you know, they had built something from the previous year. But they were coming up against the almighty Detroit Red Wings. This team was a juggernaut, pound you in the skull, dance over your smoking corpse. Just strong team. And that was it. The Devils were going to be, they were going to get swept. They were going to, the season was done. They had a wonderful season. We appreciate what you have done. Thank you very much. What do you mean they won the first game? What? Huh? In Detroit? How did that happen? Well, they're still riding that high. I mean, hey, you know what? Maybe next year, maybe next year they won the second game? Huh? That means they won both games in Detroit. Now they're going to go to New Jersey. There's still not a chance in the world that they're going to beat this Detroit team. I mean, let's be honest, it's not like winning 4 games in a row is difficult they won again? Folks, I remember sitting there for game 4 thinking, well, probably less than 2 minutes left, that this wasn't going to happen. There's no way that this team was going to sweep the Detroit Red Wings. And they did. They probably one of the biggest upsets. Of course, I'm going to be a little biased here, but the biggest upsets in hockey history. And, the lowly little Devils, the Mickey Mouse Club, has just taken out the mighty Detroit Red Wings, who, spent the good majority of the next 3 decades dominating as a team. In that series, still fairly young man. And been in the league for around 10 years at that time. Was the best player in the series, and his name was Claude Lemieux. Really got to know who he was. I got to watch him, got to understand a little bit more about him. Now hockey was being seen on TV all the time, and, I was able to be a Devils fan because I was able to watch him every once in a while. Still only on ESPN, still got to watch him during the playoffs mainly. There's not a lot of coverage of them outside of the playoffs. There's still the Devils. It's not like, none of that stuff. You got to, you got to watch the games. You still couldn't listen to the games in other markets. God, we've come a long way. But then the next year comes along. And the Utah Grizzlies, the same year the Devils won their cup, the Utah Grizzlies were a first-year team here in the league, and they won the Turner Cup. First success a professional hockey team had ever had in Colorado. Well, they were going to be moved out because there's this team from Quebec that's going to go on ahead, and they're taking the money and running. And they're coming to McNichols Arena, and, they got a very, very talented team, but they haven't known much success. Well, you know what? I knew of this team too because they were in the East. And they became the Colorado Avalanche. What happens? Lo and behold, first game. There's a skater out there named Claude Lemieux. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Lou, what the hell'd you do? Now I get to watch the young man play every game because I was in a state that had a hockey team finally. So I got to watch how impressive he was and how tough he was and how much of in hockey we have a term called a pest. In real life we call him a pain in the ass. Claude was. He was the kind of player that if you had him on your team, he's one of your favorite players. If he was not on one of your teams, ask Detroit what you think of him. He was a pest on the ice. An absolute pest. He was with Colorado a couple of years. He was the main reason for that huge brouhaha in the late 80s between Colorado and Detroit. And that was all him. Depending on which side you are, was it a dirty hit on Draper or not? I think it was an avoidable hit. I think it was because of where they were that made it look like a dirty hit, but I don't see it as that dirty of a hit. It was up high. By today's standards, you better believe it was a dirty hit, but back then, not really all that much of a dirty hit. So, but Claude plays for Colorado for a couple years, and then hear about him playing for all these other teams, and then all of a sudden the 2000 season pops up, and guess who's back on the New Jersey Devils? Guess what New Jersey does? They win the damn cup again. Just flat out amazing. Folks, on Thursday, this man who, one of the guys I loved watching on the ice, he took his life. Okay? Took his own life. And this goes to show, because he is still very, very involved in the game. He's a player agent now. He has a son that's been drafted. He has a son that hopefully has a future in the league if he just develops. Sorry, this is a tough one for me, but he was at game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Montreal, and there was some celebration for him in Montreal, and they said something about him lighting a torch or something. I don't know. I wasn't watching the game. I was busy doing other stuff. And people said he looked amazing. He looked happy. He looked healthy. And now as we sit here 5 days later, he's gone. Two of the things that we tell you, that we say all the time, and not that we need to remind you, and it's not that you don't know this, because you do know this. Fame, money, right? Look at all the instances with people with money. You got Robin Williams, you got Chad Bennington, you got all these people who take and walk away from their life, even though they've got what everybody considers everything. It's not a financial thing. He has a family. He has a wife and 4 kids. Were there problems in his family? Well, I guarantee you there were. Because he has a family, and there's problems in every family. There's not a pattern to this problem. There's not a kind of person who walks away from their life. I ask, if you need help, if you need to talk to someone, please dial 899. I want to make sure that I got that correctly. I'm pretty sure I did, but no, I did not. Well, it's apparently a Ducati motorcycle. $988. I am very, very sorry about that. There are also local divisions within your state. If you would like to talk to someone who's local, you can find those local people. I am hoping that if one thing does start showing itself, and I'm hoping maybe a person or two can realize this, with the rash of people who are ending themselves, I would like to see that as showing people that they're not alone, because there's a lot of people who are out there hurting. I would like to ask you, if you are hurting out there, maybe take a second look at it, talk to someone. and then become a light in someone else's life. Your message, your story, what you're going through right now could be something that could be very beneficial and helpful to someone else. What you're going through right now can be the reason someone else does not take that plunge. If you're a religious person, they say that God never gives you anything you cannot handle. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe that things are put in our way because they are the paths that we have taken. And these are challenges that we can either face or walk away from. Whatever way you and your religion want to see it, or you and your beliefs want to see it, I think it's very important that you allow yourself to live that thought. I would never, ever try to sit here and tell you that life is fantastic, life is wonderful, always, there's nothing wrong with life, because that's just blatantly false. There are problems. We all have problems. We all go through problems. The true fact is that we all need to learn from our choices and seek help for our problems. It's just so vitally important that we continue to work on improving our lives and becoming better than who we are. No matter how softly you walk, you always leave footprints. That was something I came up with 4 years ago when I started this show. And that was simply to mean people are going to miss you. It does not mean a ton of people are going to miss you or even know who you are, and that's not what we're trying to say. But there is nobody who leaves this earth and it's not felt by someone. So please take a second thought. Take a second look at it.
Power off.
And see If there's any way that we can help you find a solution to what you're looking for, someone to talk to, reach out to us and we'll see what we can do. I'm not going to guarantee anything except for I will try to find someone. Call 988. Don't give up, folks. There's too much. There's too much life. I am simply a fan of Claude Lemieux, but I have memories in my own way. And he left a footprint in my life. June is a month of courage, freedom, and community. As we gather for the celebration of spirit, we honor the traditions, the histories, the cultures, and moments that shape this month around the world. Each celebration includes guidance in order to help me try to pronounce the names. And I do my very best to give it all of the respect that it deserves. I do also want to make sure that people understand that all hateful comments will be reported and they will be removed. You have a freedom of speech. It's fine. I have a freedom of rejection of listening to speech. And I don't want, these holidays that I talk about are there for people to celebrate. They're not there doing harm to anyone. If you have something that is for if we forgot a holiday, don't get mad, educate. As long as they're a legitimate holiday that does not involve harming others, I would love to talk about it. I'd love to learn about it. But this is getting to know other cultures, who they are and what they do. I don't celebrate all of these holidays. But that's not to say that I wouldn't like to see what happens in these holidays. One of these holidays last year, Adrian and I joined part in. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Till the parade was over and then we couldn't find our truck and we walked around for 4 hours and 17 miles. I think is what it was. And I couldn't walk the next day. I was toasted the next day. Oh, I was so burned out. And it was a hot June day. God, I remember that. So I just remember getting into the truck finally, turning on the AC, and I could just, ugh. I got a bad problem with BO, and when I smell it, ugh. And I couldn't do it. It was tough. So, but this is the June edition of the Celebration of Spirit. Let us begin. And we begin with June is Pride Month, June 1 through June 30th. Pride Month is observed throughout June in honor of the LGBTQ plus communities. Pride Month traces its roots to Stonewall riots in 1969 in New York City. These events are marked a turning point in the fight for LGBTQ plus rights and sparked a global movement for equality and dignity. Communities celebrate with parades, festivals, educational events, and moments of remembrance. The rainbow flag symbolizes diversity, unity, and the right to live freely. Like I said, Adrienne and I took part in her employer's float, and we walked and we had quite a bit of fun. We met quite a few people, saw a lot of kids in Denver. The parade was just massive. I could not believe how big it was. Yeah, so it was, we had a lot of fun. We were contemplating on doing it again this year, but our kids are going to be here during that parade, and we're not going to miss the time with our kids. So June is also National Indigenous History Month. Canada recognizes June as National Indigenous History Month. This month honors the First Nations Inuit and Métis people who lived on Turtle Island long before modern borders existed. It acknowledges that both the beauty of the indigenous cultures and the painful history of colonization. Some of the customs that happen during this month: communities hold ceremonies, storytelling events, and cultural showcases, and educational programs that highlight resilience, language, preservation, and traditional knowledge. We have Loving Day on June 12th. Loving Day commemorates the 1967 Supreme Court decision ending interracial marriage bans. This day honors Richard and Mildred Loving, whose marriage challenged unjust laws and affirmed the rights of all people to marry regardless of race. Customs include celebrations including community gatherings, discussions on equality, and events that uplift multicultural families. Let me stop here. Every family in the world, somewhere down the line, has a multitude of cultures. The whitest of white people, somewhere down the line, had someone in their family that was a little bit darker shade of skin. It's a fact. You can live and love that fact, or you can deny and try to ignore it. And that's fine. Do what you will. But somewhere down the line, someone in your family did not look like you. You know, there's a reason why Africa and the Middle East is called the cradle of life. You know, for humans to get over to the United States, they had to cross a land bridge, and the majority of the people who were crossing over that land bridge looked more Chinese than anything. Chinese, Russian. Of course, this was a long time ago, so people just looked a little bit different anyway. But somewhere down your family line, people didn't look like you did. And imagine if things did not line up exactly the way that they lined up. You probably would not be here. Just think of it that way. If things did not line up exactly how it was. You may not be here. We have to go back in history, and things have to be exactly how they are in order for us to have exactly what we've got. Facts are facts. History's history, folks. You cannot change history. It happened. The good, the bad, the ugly, the wonderful. All of it. All of it happened. International Day of Countering Hate Speech is June 18th. This day raises awareness about the harm caused by hate speech and promotes unity. Created by the United Nations, this observance encourages education, dialogue, and action to reduce harm and build safer communities. Workshops, public statements, and community conversations focus on empathy, respect, and responsible communication. Also on June 18th is International Autistic Pride Day. Autistic Pride Day celebrates neurodiversity and strengths of autistic individuals. Founded by autistic self-advocates, this day frames autism as a natural variation of human experience rather than a deficit. I love that, because what did we say the other day? We made the statement the other day that, you know what, if you have to, adjust the volume to hear something, if you have to adjust the font size, you have a quote-unquote disability. We could all be deemed disabled, have disabilities in some way. Every single one of us. We all have to learn something to learn in an individualistic way. We cannot all learn the same things the same way. It just doesn't happen. You are unique. You need to be taught in a unique way. We all have disabilities. And I love the fact that it was self-advocates. Once again, this day reframes autism as a natural variation of human experience rather than a deficit. God, I love saying that. Some of the customs, events highlighting autistic voices, creativity and contributions, promoting acceptance and understanding. God, I love that. Next is Juneteenth, June 19th. Juneteenth commemorates the emancipation of the enslaved African Americans. On June 19th, 1865, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas, to announce that slavery had been abolished. This news reached Texas more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. Communities celebrate with festivals, music, prayer services, educational events, and gatherings that honor freedom, resilience, and Black culture. On June 20th, we have World Refugee Day. This day honors people forced to flee conflict or persecution. Established by the United Nations, World Refugee Day recognizes the courage and strength of displaced people around the world. Events include storytelling, cultural showcases, advocacy campaigns, and community support efforts. On June 21st, this is to all my spooky friends, it is the day that has been celebrated since humans began to walk the earth. On June 21st, it is the summer solstice. The summer solstice marks the longest day of the year. This is something that's been celebrated for thousands of years, and cultures worldwide have honored the solstice as a time of renewal, abundance, and connection to the natural world. Sunrise gatherings, bonfires, festivals, and spiritual ceremonies celebrate the turning of the seasons. This is one of those days that I would love to be able to go. This would be the only reason. One of the artifacts that I just don't really care too much about. I don't know why. It's never really been something that if I'm in the area, you better believe I'm going to go and see it. But going to see Stonehenge has never really been on my I really want to do that list. But could you imagine being at Stonehenge on June 21st? That would be so awesome. So, also on June 21st, we have Father's Day. Father's Day celebrated by honoring fathers and father figures. The modern celebration began in the early 1900s in the United States as a companion to Mother's Day. Families share meals, give gifts, and spend time together and honor the men who guide and support them. Oh, let's tell the truth now. People give Dad a fork and a spatula and a bunch of raw meat and say, "This is your day, Dad, now go feed us." That's exactly. Here's a tie to make it seem worthwhile. By the way, I love ties. I love ties. They're not hockey hats, but, they're ties. They're still cool. Another one celebrated on June 21st is National Indigenous Peoples Day. This, again, is in Canada. They recognize this day. This is the day that they actually honor the First Nations. Created in 1996, this day acknowledges the deep cultural contributions and histories of Indigenous peoples. Customs include ceremonies, powwows, drumming, dancing, and community gatherings, celebrating identity, resilience, and tradition. And finally, we have Muharram. Muharram is the first month of the Islamic calendar. Muharram is one of the 4 sacred months in Islam. It is a time of reflection, peace, and remembrance, especially for Shiite Muslims who honor the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. Customs include fasting, charitable giving, prayer, and community gatherings. These are all common throughout the month. So, as you all can see, June is a month filled with courage, remembrance, celebration, and light. As we honor these traditions, may we carry forward the spirit of unity, compassion, and understanding. I know that there are more out there that we did not mention. Read below me, please. Do not get angry. Educate. Help me learn. We will have an extra, I will pull you on camera and you can come on and tell us what you celebrated. If you are celebrating any of these events, please put it on video and send it to me, and I will play it in the podcast. Just be very respectful. Folks, I know some of these are not your bag of tea. Grab a different bag of tea and drink it and leave the people alone that are celebrating these days. Just because you don't like it, don't mean it ain't no good. Wow. I actually got to use a Suicidal Tendencies song lyric. Wow. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that one. That one's pretty cool. Thank you for joining us for Celebration of Spirit. Never shut up, because silence helps no one. Make sure that you do not get angry at us. Don't get mad. Educate. Zach, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us. Zach, Z-A-K, at communitypayitforward.us. You can also send us a text at 970-692-1151. 970-692-1151. Folks, I want to thank you for joining me today for Footprints Forward. This one has sucked for me. But this is the way that people feel every day after the loss of someone that they love. I would like to ask you to join us in the mission to get the compass out, the Come Together Compass. The Come Together Compass, you can support it by using this QR code in the corner. The Come Together Compass is going to help these people find a path that will help them continue to live a wonderful life. Everyone has problems. Everyone has times they just want to give up. It is our duty to make sure our loved ones do not give up. If we have to stick our nose in their business, it's better than not having their business to stick our noses into. Please remember to reach out. Just to say, hey. Just to say, Saw a car driving down the road the other day. It reminded me when you and I used to go and do donuts in the snow. Listening to Tone Loc. God, Paul, that was in your old Dart. That was like right there in that cul-de-sac by the high school, too. Of course, it was close to the middle of the night, and crazy times. Folks, please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. I do appreciate every single one of you participating. Please like, share, subscribe. We need your support to help keep us going. I need your support to help us get the compass out. The compass can help people through a lot of this. If you want to know more, simply use the numbers below. Ask me for my calendar. Let's get on. Let's have a one-on-one. I can communicate so much better over this digital picture thingy than I can over a phone. I actually tried to make a phone call with somebody yesterday, and it was a utter disaster because there was so much going on. So, well, let's get together. Let's have a talk. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell us about how you're going to celebrate any of these events this month. And again, and I say this again, if it's not your cup of tea, grab another bag of tea or maybe even a coffee and you drink that. But leave the people alone who are celebrating their way, their culture's way, the way they believe. Because every single one of us has a right to celebrate our spirit. Thank you very much. My name is Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, the Come Together Compass, and the Pact Podcasting Networks, reminding you, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one should ever have to walk it alone. When all we have to do is come together. Please love someone out there because someone out here loves you. Thank you very much. We will be back next week with a new show. Have a great day. Have a great week. Goodbye.
Warning, the brown cloud is approaching. Some will try to outrun it. Others may not be so lucky. But don't worry, it's all part of the fun at the Chili Cook-Off for books and board games. Where the chili is hot, the flavors are bold. And Bear E has your back with the official Brown Cloud Preparedness Kit. Follow the plan. Know your exits, and whatever you do, hold your breath, because this temporary pain is all for a great cause. Join us, laugh with us, survive the brown cloud, together at Key Largo Lounge in Greeley.
Join us November 8th at 11 a.m. for the 10th annual Chili Cook-Off for books and board games at our home field, Key Largo Lounge, where our small market team is making a huge statement. Scan the code for tickets and sponsorship information.
What's our sales potential? We're all selling a product, service, or idea to someone. How would we see our life when we maximize our performance and profit? When we connect with our potential that we were designed into us, It allows us to experience not only our work, but also our relationships at an enjoyable level. The workshop and assessment give us a chance to get reacquainted with who we were designed to be by the universe or God or whatever our belief system. The 3-hour workshop is separated into 3 days so our brain can absorb the new motivation and behavior change. J.W. Wilson, my mentor and author of Cracking the Learning Code, was not only known as a world leader in this science, he built $21 million businesses and taught Mayo Clinic's doctors to connect with their patients, among many other things. This is Les Simpson of Enhanced Team Performance. Below in the details is a flyer of the workshop, also with white paper and testimonial of the assessment. Included is a video link to my assessment. It shows who we are in all 6 areas of our life and was created in the 80s and was proprietary to the Fortune 500 for 30 years. Now I'm bringing it to companies and individuals that want to maximize their work and relationships. Get back with my team leader that sent you this video to join their workshop.